So today we're going to jump into something pretty wild. It's a puzzle that connects a tiny, easily missed detail in an ancient text to a profound scientific discovery about how you and I are literally built. Okay, let's get into it. First off, quick question for you. If you absolutely had to choose, which of your senses is the most important? I'm going to bet that for most of you, the answer just pops right into your head. Sight, right? Of course, we are such visual creatures. I mean, our world, our language, the way we think, it's all built around what we can see. But what if our own biology, our actual blueprint, tells a very different story? And this is where the mystery really begins. In the Quran, when the senses of hearing and sight are mentioned together, the text almost always, and I mean almost always, puts them in this specific order: hearing and seeing. Now, for centuries, you could just wave that away as, a stylistic thing, but the pattern is so incredibly consistent, it makes you wonder, why? Why hearing, then seeing?
So where do we find the answer? Well, it's not in some dusty old language book. Turns out the key to unlocking this ancient puzzle is actually in a modern science lab, specifically in the fascinating field of embryology, the study of how we develop before we're even born.
Okay, check out this timeline. It shows the exact order that our senses switch on while we're in the womb. And notice the dates here. At around 24 weeks, the auditory system is up and running. The fetus can actually hear. But the eyes, they don't even start to open until about 28 weeks. And the part of the brain that processes vision only gets its first real jolt of information at birth. Let's just hang on that number for a second. 24 weeks. This is the moment your connection to the outside world actually began. And it didn't start with a picture or a flash of light. It started with a sound. You were literally listening to the world from inside a dark room, long before you could ever see it. So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. This biological sequence is absolute. It's not a debate. In the story of how each of us is made, hearing gets the opening act. And sight, well, sight doesn't even come on stage until much later. The science is just crystal clear on this. You hear before you see. Okay, but you might be thinking, is this connection to the text just a crazy coincidence? And you know what? That's a totally fair question. To be intellectually honest, we have to look at the other side of the coin, the most logical, skeptical argument. So the skeptic's view, and it makes a lot of sense, is that hearing and seeing is just a common Arabic saying, an idiom. The order doesn't have some deep secret meaning. It just flows better. Kind of like how we in English say rock and roll, not roll and rock. But the counter-argument pushes back on that, and it points to something really powerful, the sheer, unwavering consistency. The pattern is so rigid, it feels less like a stylistic choice and more like a deliberate, knowledgeable sequence. All right, let's dig into that a little more, because the case for this being a deliberate, knowledgeable sequence, well, it gets even stronger. There are two huge reasons to think this is way more than just a catchy phrase. First, that unwavering consistency. If this were just poetry, you'd expect the author to flip the order sometimes, to make a rhyme work or change the rhythm. But here, it almost never happens. And second, this order perfectly mirrors our own neurology. Your reaction to a sound is fundamentally faster than your reaction to something you see. Think about it. Hearing is our 360-degree always-on alarm system. It doesn't need light, it works when we're asleep, and it can catch threats from behind us. It develops first and it reacts fastest because, from a survival standpoint, it absolutely has to. And when you put all of that together, wow, it paints an incredible picture. The ancient text doesn't seem to be just randomly listing our senses. No, it appears to be listing them in the exact scientific order they were constructed inside the womb, and in the precise order they are prioritized by our nervous system for our very survival. Now, all of this is pretty mind-blowing from a scientific and a historical point of view, for sure. But it also brings us to a conclusion that is incredibly profound and personal for every single one of us. I want you to just think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. Your very first human connection, your first bond with another person, it wasn't with an image, it was with a sound. You knew your mother's voice long before you ever laid eyes on her face. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other ancient knowledge, maybe hidden in plain sight in old traditions or texts, are we only now, with all of our advanced science and technology, finally beginning to catch up with and understand? Something to think about. Stay curious,